Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana. Let's get into this. Hi guys, I hope y'all are doing well. I hope everything is going great. Okay, now, as y'all know, we've been going over the periodic table. We will resume back to that. Of course, you don't have to wait for me to get to that, but I will tell you that the things I have prepared as far as learning the periodic table is going to be mad dope. I have some community engagement things we're going to be doing. It's going to be cool. But just to get into the topic, right, I wanted to inform everyone who may not know that we are being stalked and harassed, right? Of course, we all know they keep tabs of our email address, our numbers, our social media accounts, recording us through our devices, especially with cameras and whatnot, right? That's the physical. But in the spirit world, we are to being stalked. Now, if you are a spiritual person, if you consider yourself religious, conscious, then you may be aware that there are spirits who can follow you from one life into the next. But then when you start looking at the things that make the most sense in the spirit world, you can kind of start linking them to things that have helped you grow. But then you could revert them back to things that are connected to specific people or places. What do I mean? Let's say you, went to school with a person, grade school. You get into a group that, maybe you're like an introvert and then you start hanging around people who are extroverts and it teaches you how to use your voice. But then you notice that everyone from that group is connected to someone you know in your current life. Now, you could have reached or connected to this group, like I said, in grade school. And now we're 20 or 30 years later, and here you are trying to figure out why you're still being linked up with people who know people from your past. Now, of course, we talked about the 6 degrees of separation, right? Sociologists and researchers and psychologists believe that degrees has decreased to even now too. I too believe that. However, we're not speaking of the degrees of separation between people. We're speaking of entities, spirits, people that are used in the physical to stalk people spiritually. Even music can be used as a way to keep track of people. What do I mean? We have a playlist, right? We all have a playlist. Let's say I'm visiting a friend in a place where I don't want anyone to know where I am physically, but I'm blasting music. This is actually a true story. You can do 2 things to hunt me down. You can fiercely be aware of the things that I'm attracted to, like music, food, culture, anything, right? And use those things to find me. So let's say I'm blasting music and someone that I'm avoiding knows someone where I am physically, right? And then you're like, oh shit, I think I saw her. Wait a minute. I'm going to walk upstairs and walk past the door and see if I can hear her voice. Or I'm going to walk past and see if I can smell his cologne. Wait, that's the song she always plays. Or that's the song he always plays. It has to be that apartment. It has to be the house. It has to be that car. Right? Or let's just say you are trying to avoid a person. This is also a true story for me. Something I've experienced firsthand. And then you look over and you're like, why am I constantly thinking of this person that I don't want to see? I don't want to be bothered with. I know they're working root work on me. What is going on here? And now you're either being bombarded with songs, in your mind that directly remind you of this person, or they just start coming on, and you're like now forced to think about the very thing you're trying to avoid, right? So there are several layers when it comes to this thing here. Now, I personally know that people can come into your dreams, especially if they have things of yours, like your pictures, your dirty clothes, anything, any of your belongings, or if they just know you well enough to be able to do certain things, right? These are attacks. This is an act of you being stalked. Okay? And it's important for you to understand, right, that people who have studied you, they know you a lot more than you realize. And I don't want to like spook anyone out, but remember, we talked about the necromancy. People use reflective objects or just objects in general to spy on people. Now, of course, if someone has tethered themselves to you spiritually, meaning they've attached themselves to you in the spiritual world, then they would know everything that you're thinking, feeling, believing, understanding. Okay? Whether they're doing it to protect you or they're doing it to stalk you and steal your energy. Now, your spiritual rank, your spiritual protection, and your spiritual awareness is going to determine how far a person can go. But it's really important for you to just be spiritually aware and understand that a lot of the tactics being used, we engage in every day and we really don't know, right? So this is where the spiritual awareness and ranking comes into place on both parts, on your part and the person that's attacking you. Now, if you're one of those people who uses magic, I don't have any ideas for you. Don't come over here trying to, look for new tactics. I don't have it. But if you are the one being sought after, I think it's important for you to understand why. Number one, why are you being haunted down? What is it that you have that the enemy or your enemy, same difference, is attempting to bogart or steal or take or garner or garnish, right? You have to know yourself. You have to be so in tune with the Creator that you understand what it is that you possess that makes you a target. And we say this all the time. Your relationship with the Creator is going to prepare you. But you too have a part to play, a role. You have a responsibility to protect yourself. Of course, praying, before you go to sleep, before you get in the shower, before you eat, before you even listen to music, asking God if what you're doing is something that is spiritually safe. It's just one of those things. Now, I'm a firm believer in karma, right? No matter what it is, good or bad, it comes around. If you don't get all your karma, it's going to attack people that you love, that are close to you physically and spiritually, or they just scatter out through your bloodline. Mainly your children, right? Let's take that a step further. Let's just say you do get all your karma because of the things that you've been doing, right? You have to know when it's time to walk through the doors of protection. What do I mean by that? Sometimes you have to do things that you don't want to do. Sometimes you have to make amends. Sometimes you have to engage in things that don't necessarily make you feel the safest, right? And it's not always your fault, that you don't understand things or you don't really know, right? But once you gain the awareness, it's your responsibility to actively participate in protection. I'll say that again. Once you become aware, it's your responsibility to actively participate in protecting yourself and your family. To not know is one thing, but to be aware of what's happening in the spirit world and ignore it is, you're kind of asking for warfare to be waged upon you. I have so many things that I've learned, just by being attacked. So just imagine how much you can learn when you step into your calling, when you work with the Creator, when you build with the Creator. It opens so many doors, spiritually and physically. Those things tend to manifest down into the 3D when you're working hard in the spirit world. So I don't want anybody to feel like I'm just here talking. Like, I have actual factual experience with this stuff. And I mean, when I look back at the things that I experienced as a kid, I do understand that it was warfare. At the time you may write it off as some like really crazy crap, but I've shared a lot of things on this podcast, and if you don't understand the ways in which you'll be attacked, then you do need to understand that you're going to continue being attacked. If you don't understand why, you're going to continue to be attacked. Like, nothing's going to change, okay? So you need to know that spiritual attacks come in many forms. If people can come into your dreams, if people know the things that you like to eat, they can manipulate that. If people know the places you like to go, they can manipulate you in so many ways. So it's important that you know yourself enough to know that you are going to be attacked even the more if you're not protecting yourself. Okay? So those are important, pieces and things to consider and keep in mind. Being a person who is a representative for the Most High is going to make you a target, unfortunately. Okay? And that is one of the things that comes with being anointed, being, chosen, whatever you want to call it. You're going to be attacked by people you know, by people you love, by people you're familiar with. And sometimes those people don't even understand what it is that they're being controlled by. Like, they might look at it just like, oh, I don't like her, or I'm jealous, or, fuck her, or whatever. Not even realizing that they're being used by lower level demonic entities to attack God's plans. Not even God's children, because a person can just be attacked, right? But when God has given a person a particular assignment, it's usually to help other people. It's not for themselves. So this is something that God has put in place that is being attacked, right? So you have to learn to understand your assignment is your assignment, and you're going to be deceived, you're going to be attacked, and you have to learn how to protect yourself from being stalked. You have to learn what your purpose is, why you have this calling, and how to protect yourself spiritually, okay? So I'm going to end it here. I do love y'all. I hope, y'all have been drinking your water, eating your fruit, and y'all vegetables, and sipping on y'all tea, because it is absolutely free. All right. Don't get wet now. Don't get drenched out there. Look like it's going to come down. My back been hurting. All right, love y'all. Peace.